I was a refugee, child refugee, but my life, I look upon it in a very positive way. It's been a wonderful experience. I have met wonderful people who have helped others, and they have helped me.
Could we ask you questions, Herminio?
You'll be able to ask me all the questions you
find out
wish.
what it was.
Yes.
What it was like for you. How old were you when you came?
I was 7 and 1 week.
7 years old, so younger than you, and on that boat.
Was it hard to gain trust of people?
You were only a child, so you didn't really understand everything that was going on. You knew that in Spain you were being bombed, you were hungry, destitute, you see. And then in England, my goodness me, we were eating fantastic, we just to make ourselves ill, eating to compensate. Yes.
Were there any troubles you got into while you were in the boat?
All those children, we were sleeping on the floor. We crossed from the north of Spain, in what they call the Bay of Biscay, to the south of England, to Southampton, and that Bay of Biscay can be very stormy. And we did encounter a storm, and we were being sick and rolling on the floor. 4,000 children, you see, on a small boat, meant for about 400 passengers.
Do you know what happened to your family, and did you ever see them?
My family? Yes. Now, my father took my brother and me to the port to put us onto the ship, and then later on, when the north of Spain, when Bilbao fell to Franco's forces, my father was put in prison. He was actually sentenced to death. I'll tell you why. Because we didn't go to church as a family. My father finished up in prison. His death sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. My mother, I had another 5 brothers and sisters there to be fed. So that's what happened to my family. Terrible, terrible, difficult times.
Did you miss your Spain family when you got onto the ship?
I remember there was one girl, all night long she was crying, "I want to go home, tell the captain to stop so that I can go home to my parents." People were crying all night. It was so sad. But anyway, we landed at Southampton, everything so new, different. We were cleaned up in the public baths, taken to the tented camp, and life began again.
When you got to Southampton with your brother, did you guys get split up?
Did I?
Get split up?
Eventually, yes, but they did everything possible to keep us together. But my brother was 11 and I was 7.
Did you know anyone who wanted to go back to Spain even though they knew that it was being bombed?
No, people didn't want to go back to Spain because our experience had been horrible. Hunger, being bombed.
Do you feel welcomed when you arrived?
The British government didn't want us because that was a horrible period of British history when Hitler and Mussolini were being what they call appeased. You'll have to explain what appeasement means. But the British people, the support and help they gave us, wonderful.
Similarities with today, because our campaign has started with councils all across the country connecting with families, and ordinary people are saying, yes, we are prepared to take these children and take care of them, and we're now having to lobby above them, central government, and it seems to us that the doors are being shut from above, from central government. Children, do you want to say anything about what we're doing now?
The refugee committee was formed by a girl called Yasna in year 6.
She was asking to get homeless children from Calais in France to come to England with relatives who live here.
Yasna was wanting to bring 10 refugees a year.
We're writing to the Prime Minister as well as the Home Secretary because the Home Secretary lets people in from places, as most of you know, and we just thought about who he'd go to in order to get a quicker yes, so he wouldn't go over to the Prime Minister, have to explain it all. The Prime Minister would already know, and then we need to make it as quick as possible, even a few seconds more quicker.
Do you want to read your letter, Faris?
Dear Home Secretary, while I am writing this, children are suffering as their families are dying around them. We put our spare time to write a petition to Islington, who agreed to let 10 child refugees per year for 10 years to come and live in Islington.
Dear Home Secretary, today there are more displaced people across the world than ever before. 68.5 million people. All of these people are suffering. We need to help them. If you help us, you will save many lives. Help us bring 10 children per year for Islington and 1,000 for the whole of England.
Dear Home Secretary, we are the Refugee Committee. We want to protect children. Through history, people have been forced to leave their homes and seek safety into other countries. Let's get on to the point. We need children because they're not safe, because some have no homes.
Dear Home Secretary, I'm writing to you to complain as you haven't taken any actions yet for refugee children around the world. We demand 10,000 refugees every 10 years. Even though we are one of the biggest countries, we take less than 1% of refugees every year.
It's very important to think things out rather than just tend to follow what is put in front of us by our parents, family and so forth. We've got to get together and set out to improve the situation in this country and in other countries.